11.1.13 on how, when they were doing the confidence interval, they got the z-score of 1.64. So first of all, to get that z-score, if you remember your confidence intervals, I'm just going to show you a picture really quickly in the book. When you do confidence intervals, and this is going to be 90%, not 95% like this picture, but that means we have, instead, we'll pretend this is 90% of all the sample proportions are between these two values here, right? Which means that considering 100% is the entire curve, that 10% is left over for the two tails. So we would think 90% in the middle, 10% left over for the two tails, which has to be split between the two tails. So we're talking 5% of the sample proportions will lie in the tails. Now, in order to get that z-statistic in StatCrunch, it's actually not that hard. It's the same way that we did it before when we were doing things like hypothesis testing. So you're going to go to Stat Calculators, and then we're going to go over to Normal because we're dealing with the z-statistic. Now it's easiest, I think, it doesn't matter which one you do. The less than is going to get you the left tail, the greater than is going to get you the right tail. Just know that when you go to put it in the formula, you're going to be using the positive z-score that you get. So even if you decide to keep it as the less than symbol and get the less than the left statistic, you're going to keep it positive. So we want only 5% in this left tail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this number over here to 0.05 because 0.05 is the same as 5%. And then I click compute and see how it's giving me negative 1.644, and it just continues. So we're going to round that to negative 1.64. And again, if I go into my formulas, I'm going to keep that as the positive value. Now I just wanted to also mention to you that you can also do your complete confidence interval for these proportions in StatCrunch without having to go through the whole help me solve this and have to do all of the steps. It's great for you to be able to do all of those steps and understand how those steps are done, but for example, on your final exam, you're more than welcome to just use StatCrunch to help you do it. So let me show you how to do that. So let me go up to our question here. So here we have, for the first sample, we have 386 successes out of 521, I believe, tries here. So we're going to go to Stat. We're doing proportion stats because we're finding the difference between two proportions, and we are dealing with two samples. And we don't have all the data, we only have the summary. So we have like how many successes we have versus how many observations were taken. Let me just click back here. So it was 386 successes and 521 observations. So 386 and 521. And then I'll go to sample 2 and I'll say, let me see here, where'd it go? I have 448 successes and 582 observations. So 448 and 582. And then I do want to do a confidence interval, and I want it to be 90%. And then you can just click compute. And it's going to give you all of your information here. And it has our lower limit and our upper limit. And you'd be rounding those off to 3 decimal places. So try that again for yourself. I think that your other question also had a very similar type of problem. But I'm going to check it now. But I believe that this will answer both of those questions. If you have any more, let me know.